Best known for blue crabs in the Chesapeake Bay, the state of Maryland also is home to thriving local music scenes.
It's a great thing for people to hear organic music that is original.
Each year, we hear more festivals and live music events with lineups built around local artists.
Without the local talent, we wouldn't have some of the blossoming that we have here.
An economic boon.
Brings a lot of good, clean tourism dollars here.
These events also contribute to an overall sense of community.
You know, you can look at grassroots for farming or for schools or for anything. You know, it's for bringing communities together, and music does the same thing.
We'll talk with the music lovers who put the events together.
We worked really hard because we're kind of like a little mom and pop.
We had already thought through all the big stuff, so we had a real good chance to succeed.
We'll listen to the artists who lay down the sound. And we'll see how aspiring groups are making a name for themselves.
It's awesome to finally have your stuff out there for people that you've never met before to hear.
Though just the tip of the iceberg, this is a look at some of Maryland's music.
Good morning, Charm City!
We did some research on the history of bluegrass in Baltimore, and you know, it made sense. So let's throw a party.
We have a lot of local and regional talent that allows us to really spotlight them with these awesome national and international touring bands.
The Charm City Folk and Bluegrass Festival features an eclectic mix of style and sound.
We keep it simple, I think. I think sometimes you get caught up in the artsy side of it, and there's something to be said about just being a good rock and roll band.
Without that red door, I jumped out that back door. I got nothing to lose.
From homegrown talent to national headliners, rock and roll to traditional bluegrass picking.
This band's been together 43 years. I've been here almost 25 of the 43.
Bluegrass giants, the Seldom scene, appreciate the diversity.
It keeps the music alive. They have drums, they have electric instruments, and it brings in a younger crowd.
You're always trying to make a mark, you know, you're always working and going forward, and young bands are doing that too. I think we're perceived a little bit different, but we're just as excited to be here as the young bands are, really.
This year, 13 acts played 2 stages for a record crowd.
It's outstanding. I think it actually speaks to the music scene in Baltimore, and it's growing.
Eastern Shore-based Chester River Runoff has played the Mid-Atlantic for a decade.
It's really nice to have a festival like this come up and be part of it, because there wasn't necessarily that kind of infrastructure supporting groups when we first came out.
You didn't see this kind of wide variety of stuff that you're seeing now. I mean, the scene has just sort of exploded with acoustic music especially.
It overflows the stages. Artists and fans form picking circles.
One of the things I've always loved about bluegrass since I was a teenager was how accessible it was.
You have similarities to blues and jazz where you have standards.
If you can learn 3 chords on a guitar, you can go out and shadow the professional musicians, and that's where you really learn.
It's a unique level of artist and fan interaction.
You could go up and take your socks off if you wanted to. You know, it's a nice thing.
I read a great interview about bringing back kind of the vibe of what used to be in Baltimore, because string band music used to be really alive around here. You think of bluegrass and string band music, you think of like Tennessee, Nashville, the country, but it's just so cool to see such like a support, you know, from this city.
The relationship goes both ways.
Baltimore, specifically here in Druid Hill Park, has been really underutilized over the past couple of decades.
The crowd brings commerce, local vendors supply food and drink, and the park itself benefits.
We do a substantial donation to the conservatory. It's right here behind us, as well as to the Believe in Music Foundation.
A nonprofit promoting music education in Baltimore.
it's a win-win totally across the board.
Three-time Charm City veteran Chris Jacobs has watched the festival grow.
It's obviously an appreciation for it, and it's homegrown music, and this is a homegrown town. And I think people are, there's a reason why people are reacting so well to it.
South of Oklahoma, east of New Mexico, north of Louisiana, where the Cajuns.
With the backbone of local talent, the Charm City Folk and Bluegrass Festival continues to grow.
We feel really lucky to kind of be the couriers of this.
It adds a fresh chapter to Baltimore's bluegrass history each year.
It keeps it important and relevant.
And it helps to maintain a tradition.
We got to keep the music alive, otherwise old timers like me won't have no place to play. So that's a good thing.
La 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 la. It's a major chord.
WTMD, Towson University's public radio station, hosts events year-round. Tonight, live on the air, local groups playing the Baltimore Band Block Party.
Well, let's give it up right now for Yo No Say on TMD.
It's pretty surreal to know that everything that's going on is going on in that room, but also sort of just floating out through space.
To the Baltimore community, I think TMD is on the forefront of doing a lot of big things for local bands.
The bands play for the exposure and to raise money for the station, which relies on listeners for 2/3 of its budget.
In the beginning, you're playing for your friends, and then your friends' friends, and now finally it seems like we're making some headway.
To finally get a shot with a TMD event is prestigious in my eyes.
With 10 bands on the bill, the Block Party makes for a night chock full of Baltimore music. The group that generates the most donations earns a slot in TMD's first Thursday summer concerts. Depending on the hour, the audience enjoys anything from plugged-in 5-pieces to acoustic trios.
I was backstage listening, and other bands are performing and they have such big sounds, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna go up there with a cello, a ukulele, and a beatboxer. It was kind of 3 very unconventional instruments.
4, counting the mouth trumpet, a crowd favorite and a talent discovered by chance.
It was kind of a very fluke thing, and I took a deep breath in the car, and it just came out, and that was it.
It requires a lot of work for a group to play its way into the Block Party lineup.
It takes some time, you start out slow and then you send your stuff, and they must get thousands of CDs. Finally, you get that coveted email, and we came in, we actually did an in-studio performance a few months ago, and that's kind of how it started.
I kind of started the band, I met the drummer, and we started working together, and we gradually just sort of snowballed into a full band.
There's very much an interlocking aspect of all these Baltimore bands that sort of get matched up and hook up with each other.
A tightly knit culture where sit-ins are common and sometimes enduring.
We shared the stage of the show, and then Fractal Cat guys came up to me and they said, hey, that sounded really great. Do you want to sit in on a song on our album? And then they kind of just asked me slowly, do you want to learn more songs? Do you want to learn all the songs?
Across genres, soul, funk, a lot of interlocking, a lot of cross-pollination, which I really like.
Encouraged, no doubt, by events like the Block Party and the station with a vested interest in local music.
It's an important relationship, and they're really good to local bands.
Travel westbound on I-70 and you'll reach Hagerstown, home of the Western Maryland Blues Festival since 1996. It all began with a bid for city council.
I didn't do well. It was the best thing that never happened to me and never happened to Hagerstown. But one of the big issues in that election was cultural tourism.
What started that year as a small community effort
I call it a lonely drumbeat.
has evolved into a 4-day multi-site festival. Here's a look at the downtown house party.
Living in a moment like days of old, 'cause I'm too far, too far, too far, too far gone now. Mama, too far, too far, too far, too far now.
Everyone says, well, why Hagerstown? But why not? Because, see, for me, it's American music. You can't listen to anything without it being touched or influenced by the blues.
Voted the Mid-Atlantic's best blues group 12 years running, the Kelly Bell Band brings big sound to the stage.
We call it fat blues music.
If you could imagine Muddy Waters wearing a Bob Marley t-shirt, riding on a Black Sabbath tour bus on the way to a Parliament Funkadelic concert, listening to a James Brown 8-track tape, humming a Run DMC song with a Nighthawks ball cap on with B.B. King, all in the glory of Bo Diddley, that would be merely close to what we do. Can you dig it?
How you doing, Hagerstown? We're doing better now.
With roots reaching back to the originator.
We started because we were the backup band for the late, great Bo Diddley.
The Fat Blues Blend is a sound 20 years in the making.
Should have been you. One night gave my heart to, should have been you.
I can remember when I was a kid, you either listened to, blues and R&B and hip hop, or you listened to rock and roll and metal.
Now I'm thinking it woulda, coulda, shoulda been you, but when it was, I was.
Now I think, everybody listens to a little bit of everything. It's really kind of opened that door. This band's been kind of trying to, push that envelope for a long, long time.
A comparative newcomer to the blues circuit, Jerika Singleton.
I'm leaving, baby.
If you'd have told me 6 years ago that I was going to be a musician playing the blues, singing the blues, I would have told you were lying.
The former basketball star envisioned a future in the sport.
Today is my last day.
But when sidelined by injury, he turned to the blues.
It's like pressure release. I'm at peace when I'm on stage,
Hey, Ben, run them a smooth bass line one time.
The Mississippi-based group had him dancing at the house party.
They were boogieing, man.
Hey, Sam, I need a little butter on top of what Ben doing. Hit me.
I love the intimate setting, not only the band, but the band and the audience, too.
We were trying to build a sense of ownership from the beginning.
Volunteer-run, community buy-in fosters a close-knit environment.
I think that's what made our festival successful.
Here we go.
It's really fun to come out, and people are just so energetic and enthused about what we're doing.
Be a good night.
All walks of life turn up for the Blues Fest.
It brings us all together in the music.
Can you hear me over this guy's shirt? I got my outfit right.
And for many, the blues are more than just music.
It reminded me when I was a kid, when I was a struggling kid, that nobody is alone in their walk through this world.
Their emotional truths expressed in song.
Talks about how I hurt my ankle, my basketball career was derailed, and I worked as a janitor to keep things going.
And a Hagerstown staple, 20 years running.
I think it just brings everyone together as human beings, and we forget our differences and learn that we're all the same, really, when we cut the mustard.
Ain't gotta think about it, babe. I'm gonna let you go.
Hot August Music Festival.
23 years ago, a friend of mine came up to me. He said, why don't you have a picnic in your backyard and bring a couple bands to your backyard? And I said, maybe.
The Hot August Music Festival began with family and friends on a farm in Moncton.
We started with Hot August Blues, and now we're Hot August Music.
It's adapted over the years, moved to Oregon Ridge Park in Cockeysville, but stays true to its roots.
We've grown, but yet we still try to make everybody happy. We still have an element of blues, we have roots, we have bluegrass.
This family affair features local crafts and vendors. Activities such as drum circles keep kids engaged, while music pours from 3 stages.
Very next day, try as I can't wash dirt, blood from my hand.
Early on, Baltimore-based June Star kicks things off with a bang.
Raising up a toast, gonna drink it down to the Pope of Mexico.
Where sort of, country and rock and, like the Americana type sound.
Bandleader Andrew Grimm recalls his roots. He's played these parts now for 16 years.
I went to a show and I watched somebody play and I was like, I could do that. And then a couple years later, I learned that I couldn't really do that easily. So I just found some guys who could play, and we all took our time and relaxed, and we've been playing pretty much at the same places ever since then.
Many musicians juggle gigs with family life.
I got kids, so you don't get out like you used to.
They take full advantage of the day, catch up on acts they may have missed.
Good to be home. People you haven't had a chance to get out to see, you finally get to see them, and it's like, you're blown away.
Back in town amidst a busy touring schedule.
In the last 12 months, we've played close to 200 shows.
Pigeons playing ping pong. Former Terrapins Jeremy Schoen and Greg Ormont began the group as freshmen at the University of Maryland, College Park.
Just the two of us singing goofy songs and playing around our college town.
He would start as a solo act on the guitar, and I would join him about 20 minutes in and sing some mashups and cover songs and stuff.
The band name came about in Psych 101.
They were reading about B.F. Skinner and how he taught pigeons how to play ping pong using behavioral modification.
Then, completing the lineup,
we added drums and bass.
The four began honing their craft on the rowdy college bar circuit.
College Park was a great start for us, and it's actually was a really good training to put us in front of crowds that weren't really engaged in the show.
Get back! Get back!
It forced us to be very creative, to draw people in.
Get back, Jojo!
The Pigeons soon found their sound.
Once we started playing live, we really learned that we loved to perform.
And took it full-time post-college, earning a reputation for high-energy shows.
When you're on a stage, why hold back?
And a dedicated following, the flock. They credit one local venue with playing a key role in their development.
The 8x10 provided us with residencies, so we played every Wednesday for certain months of the year.
That was huge for us. It let us like spread our musical wings.
The concentration of shows forced innovation of sound.
When you're playing 4 times the same month at the same venue, you have to spice it up.
It encouraged experimentation that would influence the group's trajectory.
We've grown in a very open environment, but very accepting and creatively empowering.
Recent addition, Alex Petropoulos.
It's Irish. No, it's not.
Moved from New York to Mount Washington for the gig.
It seems like, especially with the local bands, everyone's very, tightly connected.
Collaboration.
Like, hey, we'll get you a show here, you can get us a show here.
To everyone's benefit.
We're all kind of helping each other out.
The Pigeons wrap their homecoming set. 9 to 5. And Oregon Ridge Park is just warming up.
My papa is old and fat, just chewing his cigars with his hair slicked back. They'll roll him over, we'll beat him black.
Texas-based Shakey Graves takes the stage mid-afternoon. Later, the Punch Brothers, big-time acts, demonstrate just how far Hot August has come.
Actually, after the first year, I wanted to stop. I said, it's enough of this.
And by the sound of it,
I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Now it's 23, so I'm going to at least make 25 or 26 years probably. Maybe 30.
They've got a few more years to go. Once a month throughout the summer, crowds gather in Canton Waterfront Park.
First of all, thank you to our members, our contributing members.
People come by land and sea, a free show at the edge of Baltimore's Northwest Harbor. These are WTMD's first Thursday concerts.
Gentlemen, make some noise right now for Baltimore's own Western Star!
It's cool, man. I know a lot of towns don't have something like this.
A TMD tradition for more than 10 years now. Thousands attend the concerts. Western Star won the block party and a spot in tonight's show with its gritty alternative sound.
We're kind of a raw sounding band, but like most music that you hear on the radio now, there's a bunch of oohs and that's against our religion.
Alex and Nick Jeffers founded the group.
My brother and I decided, we were gonna start a band and got a practice space where we're like, oh, we're gonna nab up a drummer somehow.
I met these guys outside of a warehouse in Baltimore City.
And I'm like, dude, the next guy who walks up, that's our drummer, I guarantee it.
So I started playing with them, and then they were like, well, we're going to Texas in like 3 weeks, and then they just left.
Down to work on a family ranch. The rest of the band followed.
We all got on the trackhoes and the bulldozers.
Clearing the land and digging a lake and building all the fence for the cattle.
And we rehearsed every night. We like dig and then we play. And we dig and then we play.
Kind of our only thing that we had besides working, so played a lot.
Their time on the ranch forged their sound. Western Star emerged booking gigs from Texas to Baltimore and north to Boston. They'll head south from here for shows in Dallas and Austin, and fittingly,
in between, we're actually gonna work. We're gonna finish the front gates on the ranch, so sort of like a cap.
Next to take the stage, Reverend Peyton and his Big Dan Band.
Man, I am obsessed with the greats of country blues. People like Charlie Patton, Bucka White, John Hurt, Fred McDowell.
He takes pride in the tradition, and he gives the crowd a real country blues sermon on his cigar box guitar.
In case you're wondering who the bass player is up here, it's my thumb. You go see a band play so often live, man, and they're playing to a track. No iPod, no laptop computer, just real human hands playing real instruments plugged into speakers. You'd be amazed. Big bands. It would hurt your feelings to know they do it. That fingerstyle country blues way of playing is it's almost like a dying art, and part of what I do or hope to do anyway is to keep it alive.
It's not the type of music heard on commercial radio.
It's not top 40, you know what I mean? I don't have a perfume line to fall back on.
And that's why people tune in to TMD.
They play stuff we've never heard of, stuff people would never play on the major radio stations.
It's a pretty rare thing to be able to come to something like this and, get support from a radio station, for bands like us.
They're not judgmental, and they're just like super, super helpful.
It's important for us as human beings to have music. It's a gift, I believe, from God.
For many, music is a way of life. And here, homegrown talent finds a welcoming stage.
I'm really interested in what's going on in the neighborhood. I'm really interested in supporting what's local.
For organizers, bands, and fans, it's a win-win-win.
It's just a great experience to meet new people and, share that common bond in the music.
It's not something that translates into dollars and cents necessarily, but it's something bigger than that, I think.
Music in Maryland, bigger in all the right ways and getting better all the time.
You're gonna have to walk away because I can't keep talking if you keep coaching me. Hey Marc, you take Sam for a walk, that's our banjo player.
I was a philosophy major, so it takes me a long time to get ideas together.
You must have seen him, Look, Kelly Bell, let me try that again, sorry.
I was like, hey you, why don't you come on over here and play with me and we'll just strum out some guitar.
So nice thing.
Really?
Like everywhere I turn, he's like right here.
He leans into our fence and he looks down it. He's like, this is some damn good fence. And we were like, right, dude,
Sorry, man, I don't shut up. You got me started.
He was like, I always knew I was doing it right if the girls were dancing. And I was like, that's so true.
What would make me happy right now? It must come from within because I don't have anything else coming to me.